Okay, so far so good. So this is the project that we have. Now we will be interacting with most of the things and within the Visual Studio Code. Now let's start off by npm installing all our packages. So simply type npm install, and then you'll see like packages will be installed. All these packages, they'll go under a folder that will be added here, which is the node modules folder. So that's, think of it as everything that is needed, everything that is required for your project to run. Your project without node modules, node modules are more like dependencies. They are dependencies for your project to execute. They are dependencies for your project to run. So remember, you do not need to ship the node modules to your maybe GitHub or things like those. So if you open Git, ignore, you will see like everything that you don't need to ship will be here, and one of those things is a node module. So they are like agnostic to your project in the sense of you do not need to ship them together with your project. They will only be needed when they are needed. For example, someone in your team, maybe if you're working on a team, they clone your project, they need to follow these steps. So that's all you need to do to know about the package JSON dependencies. And if you open it, you'll see like let's just exploit as we wait for it to finish installing. You will see a couple of things, like first of all the name of your project, then the other thing is the version, and then whether it's a private. Now you see this scripts part. What is this? This is the section that makes it easy. Think of it as shortcuts, like the shortcuts that are needed for you to execute some commands. You don't need to remember like React Native, run Android for you to run an Android version, run iOS. No. All you need to do once this finishes, we'll see. For example, all you need to do is to npm run start, and then it will run React Native start. Then you can run npm run Android. So think of these as commands, or rather hotkeys. Yeah, think of them as hotkeys, which make it so easy for you to have things executing. You can even add your custom command, like command X to do something, and then you set the command here. So it's that simple. Now the other thing is the dependencies that are needed. So far we only depend on React and React Native. So because this is a React Native application, that means by like implicitly it means you need React. Yeah. Then the dev dependencies. These are the things that are actually used in the development environment. You don't need these ones to be shipped to the application. These dependencies are what are shipped to the application, but the dev dependencies, they will not be shipped to the application. These, think of them as, for example, you have what can we use as an example? You work maybe in a company whereby already you have things packaged in boxes. Then that packaging process, all those packaging processes that are followed for you to have the final product, this is the final thing that is shipped. Then these are all the processes and all the things that are needed for you to create something that is going to be shipped later on with the project to the end users. So I believe that was clear. Then these are the engines, for example, what node version is required. Yeah, that finishes. Now let's look at another interesting file, the app.json. So what is this? For example, you are pushing your project to Play Store or any like distribution platform. The name that is displayed here is what will be seen by the end users. For example, you can change this name to something like that. Then at least it will have a much more realistic looking name. And then this is the entry point. So all the code in your application will start off at some point. Like for the React Native CLI option, everything always starts at an app.txt, like the entry point of your application. When you open like this index file, so let's set all these things side by side. For example, we start with package.json, and then we come to the index, this index file. So this index file, you see that it imports a couple of things, but the most important thing is you see app.register component, the app name that will be used. Like we have this here, name as app name, so the name, and then that's the app name, so we register it as app. And then app now is what is pointing to our application that we have here. So if we open the flow side by side, we have it. This is the first part. Then we have the index file. Then we have the app.json. The app.json, maybe as you have seen, is what like you can change. You can decide to change how it will appear. Then this is just the display name. Okay, I believe that is very clear now. Now the other thing like I get to get back to is the node module section. All these things, they were installed like for you, like for your project to use. So anything that you will add, you may wonder like why we need all these things whereas we only have a few things here. Think of them as a subset, like what is it, like complementary modules. They are needed because something needs them. Like something needs x needs y needs z. It's just like a chain, like a needs b, like that. So you need all of them, and you don't need to remember them, you don't need to memorize them. All you need to remember is what you have in your application specified in the package.json, this section or this section, and that's it. So the other thing is the config. Like this is where like your configurations go. Like you can actually tweak them, you can customize them the way that you want. The other thing is the metro config, because we will see in a while, for example, you use metro when you run the project, you use metro. And let's actually now finally get to the point where we run our project, and then everything should come up. So the assumption at this point is that everything you have followed the instructions for setting up the environment. Yeah, need to set up your environment. So if you go to the setting up your environment section, please just follow this section, install everything that is required, install like the Android Studio. So like let me know if you need like an additional video instruction for setting up an environment for your React Native project. So let's now split the terminal so that at least we have our npm run start. As we said, you can npm run start. What this will do, it will check the package.json, then it will run start. So React Native start. So this will actually run our metro, the metro bundler that we saw. Welcome to metro. You should see these things, and then you see interesting thing or the best part is the live reload feature. But you can even actually force the reloading. For example, if you want to invalidate your storage, if you want to refetch maybe the whole authentication, like you can just press R. So these are just shortcuts. You can actually use these commands to run on Android. This will open an Android application on your maybe emulator or on your phone if you have it connected. And then the other thing you can do other than this one is just simply npm run Android. So if you are on Visual Studio Code, you can actually tab. You can hit tab and then you will see auto completion. So let's see, for example, I don't remember a command. Let's say npm run something. You just hit tab twice and then you will see all the commands displayed. So for us, it's Android, and then you just hit enter. Then it will build it. It will launch the emulator for us to see. So as the emulator launches, let's just wait for a while, and then we will get back to the very first version that you will have successfully ran on your machine. And that's just like, there's nothing complicated about it. So let's just resize this a bit. And we wait for some few minutes. So we'll get back to this when it finishes building. And actually, let's just wait, like it will finish building, then it will automatically run. So this is something else. So finally the project is executed, and as you can see, it was installed on our Pixel AVD. So again, I encourage you to make sure that you have everything set up and you have also the emulators created. If you don't have emulator created, or even the project set up to have like support for emulator and Android Studio, you will need to actually use your actual machine. But I encourage you to make sure that you have at least your AVD set up for convenience. Yeah. So as you can see, like this is the app that we talked about, app.ts. This is the entry point of everything. So all we need to do is to mutate. We'll be mutating, we'll be changing the code base from here, and we will not have all our code here. But remember, the good thing is that when you make a change, it's actually propagated immediately. So for example here, let's try and say maybe we made a change here. We made a change. So as you see, it updated. So that's the beauty of the whole setup. It's actually real-time changes. You make a change in the code base, it's reflected directly, and this will be really quick when it comes to development. You don't have to keep on hitting reload, no. So again, React has made it so easy for you to get to where you want to get in a very short time. So let's now jump to the next step, where we'll be setting up our code environment and our code structure, like the folders. We are going to be setting up them in a manner that is I'll explain as we go along. Okay.